We went to the moon over 50 years ago, so why can't we just do it again? Why is going back to the moon so hard? Let me share the surprising reasons that are holding us back. There's more to it than you might think, and the challenges we face today are different from what they were in the past. From old technology that can't be used anymore to the new goals of building a lasting presence, the path back to the moon is full of obstacles. Stick around to uncover the truth. Back in 1969, the world watched as Neil Armstrong took those famous first steps on the moon. It was a huge achievement, not just for NASA, but for all of humanity. But here's the surprising part. Going back to the moon today might actually be harder than it was back then. Wait, harder? How can that be? We've had decades of technology advances since the Apollo missions. So why is it still so tough? Let's break down the reasons. The technology we used to get to the moon in the 1960s and early 1970s was specially built for one purpose: to get there and come back quickly. A lot of that technology was made just for the Apollo program, and the facilities needed to build it don't exist anymore. Imagine it's like baking the best cake ever, but then losing the recipe. We still have some of the ingredients, but we've lost the exact instructions and the special tools we used. Now we have to start over, from scratch, but with modern rules and standards. It's also not just about rebuilding the old technology. Today, we need to make sure everything meets strict safety standards, which were a lot more relaxed back during Apollo times. Plus, many of the materials used back then are no longer available, so we need to find modern replacements that work just as well, if not better. This means more research and development, which takes time and money. In the 1960s, the space race was more than just about science. It was about showing power. The Cold War pushed the United States to beat the Soviet Union to the moon, no matter the cost. The Apollo program had the full support of the country and a big budget, almost 4% of the entire federal budget at its peak. Today, NASA's budget is much smaller. Getting governments to spend billions of dollars on space exploration, especially when there are so many problems to solve on Earth, is a big challenge. Governments today have a lot of competing priorities, like healthcare, education, infrastructure, and climate change, that all need funding. Space exploration, while exciting and important, often comes after these more urgent needs. On top of that, people aren't as excited about space missions as they were during the space race. Back then, it was about national pride. Now, it takes more effort to get the public interested and justify the expense. Unlike the Apollo missions, we're not just looking for a quick visit to the moon. This time, the goal is to stay, a long-term presence. This means we need to build habitats that can handle extreme temperatures, radiation, and provide food, water, and energy in a place with no atmosphere. Basically, we're trying to build a home in one of the toughest places imaginable. The moon's environment is incredibly harsh. Temperatures swing from extremely hot to extremely cold, with no atmosphere to help regulate them. A lunar day lasts about 14 Earth days, followed by 14 days of darkness, making it tough to generate consistent power. Solar energy is an option, but we also need ways to store energy for the long, cold lunar night. Radiation is another big problem. Without an atmosphere or magnetic field, the moon's surface gets hit by dangerous radiation, which can be harmful to astronauts. We also need to figure out how to use the moon's resources. This is called in situ resource utilization. It means finding water in lunar ice, making oxygen from moon soil, and even using the moon's dirt to build habitats. These are all very complex challenges that require new technology and ideas that didn't exist back during Apollo times. Sending people to the moon is dangerous and expensive. The Apollo missions were risky, and it's amazing that everything went as well as it did. If something went wrong today, it could have a huge impact on public opinion and could delay moon exploration for years. With modern missions, safety standards are much higher, which makes everything take more time, more work, and more money. In the Apollo era, astronauts were seen as heroes who were willing to take big risks for exploration. Today, astronauts are still seen as heroes, but there is more focus on making sure they're safe. Losing human lives in a mission would be a major setback, both politically and financially. Because of this, every part of a mission must be carefully planned and tested to make sure it's as safe as possible, and that level of safety comes at a high cost. After the Apollo program, the focus of space exploration changed. Instead of the moon, the goal became building a permanent human presence in low Earth orbit, like the International Space Station, and even exploring Mars. The moon, in a way, lost its importance for a while. NASA and other space agencies had limited resources, and their attention was on other projects, which left a gap in moon exploration. For decades, people thought, we've already been to the moon. The excitement moved to Mars, the outer planets, and deep space. The International Space Station became the main focus for human spaceflight, encouraging international cooperation and research in space. The moon just wasn't the priority anymore, and the knowledge and tools needed for moon missions started to fade away. Now, things are changing. NASA's Artemis program wants to take humans back to the moon, and this time, stay for good. Private companies like SpaceX and Blue Origin are also helping make moon missions possible. The goal isn't just to put footprints on the lunar surface again. It's to make the moon a stepping stone for future missions to Mars and beyond. This new wave of moon exploration is a team effort. It involves international space agencies, private companies, and new technologies that we didn't have during the Apollo days. The Artemis program, for example, plans to build the Lunar Gateway, a space station that will orbit the moon and act as a base for missions to the moon's surface. This will be important for creating a sustainable human presence on the moon and eventually using it as a starting point for Mars missions. Private companies are also making a big difference. SpaceX's Starship, for example, is designed to carry heavy loads and astronauts to the moon and beyond, which could lower the cost of moon missions. Blue Origin, with its Blue Moon lander, is also helping with the effort. This partnership between public and private sectors is creating new chances and making moon exploration more possible than it has been in decades. So, why is it so hard to go back to the moon? It's because we're not just trying to visit again. We want to go beyond, make it sustainable, and use the moon as our gateway to the rest of the universe. We're learning from the past while building a bigger future. The journey back to the moon is complicated, but the vision we have now is far more ambitious than before. The challenges are huge: technological, political, financial, and human. But the rewards are just as great. Going back to the moon will push the limits of what we can do, inspire future generations, drive new technology, and open the door for even more amazing missions. The moon is just the beginning. It's our stepping stone to Mars, to the asteroids, and eventually to the stars. If you want to learn more about the amazing challenges and possibilities of space exploration, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming videos. Until next time, keep dreaming of the stars. If you want to learn more about the amazing challenges and possibilities of space exploration, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our upcoming videos. We have so many exciting topics coming up, from missions to Mars to the search for life beyond our solar system. Until next time, keep dreaming of the stars.